Hi there, everybody. It's Adam Bushnell, the author. How are you all doing today? Day 3 of our live storytelling, live TV. People said never do it, but yes, here we are. And here I am. And thank you so much for all of your messages from yesterday. And thank you so much for sending me your pictures and your writing and your work. What a phenomenal job everybody did. Let me just share one or two with you. First of all, I'm going to show you a picture drawn by a young man who's called Aidan from Finkel School. This is a picture from our story from Monday. You've got me dressed as a knight, and then you've also got the dragon who is deceased on the floor. You can see its crossed eyes. And then you've got the Queen of England and her guards. But from yesterday's story, Aidan decided that he would turn into a shrimp. Awesome job there, Aidan. Fantastic. Now, next one. What else can I show you? I've got some writing to share with you. But before that, I've also got, this is Ella from Ghoul, who decided that she would turn into an eagle. I think that's fantastic. There's the eagle soaring across the land. And then next picture. This is a picture by James Mowbray, who decided that he wanted to be an elephant. And there he is, shooting out a rainbow of hope to all the NHS staff. Look at that. That's fantastic. And then we also have here from Rebecca Gresswell in Harrogate. She would turn into a unicorn, and that was a very popular choice. I received a lot of unicorns. Then this is a change over 3 days. Who have we got here? We've got... oh yeah, this one is Thea, and Thea is from Sacred Heart School in Hartlepool, and this is her step-by-step transformation of her turning into a horse. You've got with a horse's body and a horse's mane and horse's ears, step-by-step. Absolutely love it. Okay, then we're going to be sharing some writing with you. This writing is from Harvey, who's from Easington Colliery School. Hi there, everybody. And he wrote this. He began to turn small. Then he started growing miniature jet black hairs all around his body. In a few seconds, an elongated, swirling tail popped out of where the sun doesn't shine. Then his eyes turned enormous and pitch black. Afterwards, his limbs started growing, never ending. Then he swam from tree to tree. Who am I? Tell somebody near you, tell your friend, tell a family member who you think it was. I'll reveal the answer just now. I'll load up the next one. Yeah, that's right. It was a monkey. Now, this one is some writing that is by Isaac, who is from the Dunelm class of St. Oswald's School in Durham. And he drew a picture and did some writing, which I'll read you now. When the change began, my glasses fell off, my nose as well. It swelled to twice its normal size. My hands grew heavy and fell to the floor. I was going to do a plank from a Joe Wicks PE class. My head tingled and I felt soft hair brush my face like pillows on my cheeks. The bottom of my spine felt weird as a tail began to grow. Where there had not been a tail before. Can you guess what I am? And I have, of course, already revealed the answer. It is a lion. Fantastic job there. Well done. Next piece of writing that we've got sent in. This is by Oscar. Now, what have I written about you? Oscar, year 4 from St. Cuthbert's in Seaham. Look at all of this writing here. It's a full-on story. Our story starts in ancient Brazil, in a village-like settlement. It was a small, peaceful village where no war ever came. The people of the village all knew each other. They treated each other like brothers and sisters. Miles away from the village, there was a deep, dark and treacherous cave. In a small crevice of the cave, 2 glowing eyes opened. There was a dragon in there, and it had awakened from its slumber. And then the story goes on to describe the dragon, and it's just awesome. Well done, Oscar. Fantastic job. Okay, next one we have here by, who've we got? Nina Parlett from Seaham. This is a story about Askeladd, another adventure of Askeladd. Askeladd closed his eyes and concentrated. He felt his head narrowing forward, his nose stretching like a hook. Feathers slowly grew from his neck and chest. His hands started to ripple like waves in the ocean. Nice simile. Fingernails curved out like a witch's as they turned jet black. His hands then turned neon yellow. With a gentle rustle of fur that flowed over the colour of golden sand. His feet became round as a dinner plate. Slowly, his velvet paws unsheathed his claws. Next, he unfolded an enormous pair of mighty wings elegantly. Finally, with a big swish of a long golden tail, evolved from his back smoothly. Opening his eyes, he saw his shadow gracefully lying on the floor. It was... See if you can guess that one. I bet you can't. That one is a mythical creature. Have a quick chat with each other. What do you think that one is? Anybody get it? That one was a griffin. Well done, Nina. That's a fantastic job. So loads of bits of writing there. I'll better stop sharing, otherwise this entire post will just be sharing everybody's work. But actually, that's probably a better plan than what we're actually going to do. But anyway, today we are talking ancient Greece. We're going to have my favourite ancient Greek hero. Now, the ancient Greek heroes, there was a bit of a pattern to their name. There was Orpheus, there was Perseus, there was Theseus, and there was Jason. He doesn't really follow that pattern, but our hero today does follow the pattern, and his name was Odysseus. The Romans renamed him Ulysses, but the Greeks, in their original form, it was Odysseus. Now, Odysseus was a fantastically clever hero. It was his idea to build that Trojan horse in Troy and get inside the city with the soldiers packed inside. But before that happened, he went on a great journey. He went on an odyssey named after Odysseus. He went on a journey across the sea and had many adventures. This is just part of those adventures. Odysseus the hero. He and his crew were sailing across the sea. They'd had lots of crazy things happen to them, but the worst thing that happened was when they ran out of food. They had no food. They had no drink. They were starving. They were thirsty. The sun was bleaching down upon the boat. They were so hungry. They longed to see land, that they might go onto the land and find some fruit, find some meat, find anything. Now, on this one particular day, after they'd been starving for a long time, they noticed a little island in the distance. Odysseus saw it and called out to his men, "Let's head that way, we can stop off at the island." So they dropped their anchor nearby. They climbed down the little rope ladder and then they rowed on their boat to shore. As they got there, one of the men turned around and said, "I've been keeping a secret. I've been waiting for some good news to happen. I've actually got a great big sack of wine here that I've been saving for a special occasion. This will be that special occasion. Let's drink some wine," Odysseus said. "You had a great big bag of wine this whole time. Why didn't you tell anyone?" He said, "I told you I was saving it for a special occasion." Well, Odysseus said, "It doesn't matter about that. We have struck gold. Look over there, everybody." They all looked over there. They couldn't believe their eyes. On this island were the biggest sheep that any of them had ever seen before. As soon as they saw the sheep, their mouths were hanging open. They were amazed. They said, "Look, they're the size of elephants." They drew their swords and marched towards the sheep, who unsuspectingly were grazing at some grass. Odysseus and his friends, they jumped onto the sheep, they took their swords, and I'm very sorry to tell you, but they stabbed the sheep, they chopped the sheep up, and then they started to put the bits of sheep into a cooking pot. Roasting meat began to fill their nostrils and their mouths began to salivate and water. They were so excited about eating this sheep stew, so excited that they didn't notice that the ground was shaking. Boom, boom, boom. Or rather, they did notice, but a little bit too late. You see, there wasn't just giant sheep on this island. There were also giants that lived there themselves. And the king of these giants, his name was Polythemus. Now, these giants were no ordinary giants. These giants had one large eye in the middle of their foreheads, that this was the island of the Cyclops. And Polyphemus, the king of this island, it was his herd of sheep. It was his sheep that Odysseus and his friends had killed and were now cooking. Polyphemus was furious. He took his great and mighty hands, and after creeping up, not very sneakily, behind Odysseus and his friends, he grabbed hold of them and cut them into his two hands. "Who has dared to kill one of my sheep? You will suffer. You will be sorry." He then carried Odysseus and his friends over to the cave where he lived. Then Polyphemus threw Odysseus and his friends into the cave and rolled a great boulder over the entrance to stop them from escaping. Odysseus and his friends, they waited in the darkness, shaking with fear. They were absolutely terrified. And they didn't wait long before Polyphemus came back. He moved the boulder to one side. He counted in his herd of sheep to make sure that he hadn't lost any more than the one that Odysseus and his friends had killed. And once all the sheep were inside, Polyphemus slipped in, rolled the boulder, and then turned his attention on the cowering humans. "So then," Polyphemus said, "you have eaten one of my sheep. Actually, this cooking pot does smell rather nice. I'm going to eat this sheep, and then I'm going to eat you." Odysseus's mind was racing. "Have you still got that sack of wine?" he asked his friend. His friend nodded. He said, "Give it to me quickly." "Polyphemus, while you're eating the fine mutton stew that we've made for you, would you care for some wine? We have a whole sack of it here." Polyphemus did not need asking twice. He snatched up the sack of wine and then began drinking it down. And sure enough, he drank the whole lot in mere moments. And then he ate the great big stew, and he felt rather sleepy and tired. He looked at Odysseus and his friends, and he was a little bit drunk by now, and he said, "I'm going to have a little sleep. And after my sleep, then I'm going to eat you tonight." And he fell fast asleep. Odysseus, he's a different one. Odysseus looked at his friends and said, "Quickly, have we got our swords?" His friends said, "Our swords are nothing against that great brute. And our swords aren't going to wedge open that boulder at the entrance. Why do we need our swords?" Odysseus said, "See that log that he uses for a seat? Let's sharpen the end of it. I've got an idea." And so sleeping Polyphemus snored on, while Odysseus and his friends sharpened the end of the great big tree trunk. And then they hoisted the tree trunk up on their shoulders. They stepped forward, and as they got closer and closer, they lined up that tree trunk against the eyeball of sleeping Polyphemus. They pulled it back, and with a great mighty thrust forward, they plunged it through sleeping Polyphemus's eyeball. "Ah!" Polyphemus screamed and shrieked. "I've been blinded! Who has blinded me?" Odysseus said, "My name is Nobody." "Right, Nobody, I'm going to find you and eat you first. I'll tear you limb from limb." Odysseus said to his friends, "Now!" And they all ran off, and they hid underneath the bellies of those giant sheep. They hid, nestled in the thick fur and the wool. Polyphemus was searching wildly. He couldn't see anything, but he could feel his sheep. He could feel the rocks, and he could feel his sheep again. And "I'm going to have to get these sheep out of here. Then I'll be able to find Nobody and those treacherous, blinding humans." So Polyphemus moved the boulder a little bit and squeezed out his herd of sheep. Once he'd counted that every single one of them had gone, then he moved the boulder back and carried on searching for Odysseus and his friends. But of course, Odysseus and his friends were hanging underneath the wool of the sheep. They'd escaped the cave, and as soon as they were outside, they jumped down to the floor and they ran off towards their boat to get onto their ship and sail away as fast as they could. But Polyphemus had realized he'd been tricked. He moved the boulder to one side. He stepped out of the cave and he shouted, "Come and help me, Cyclops! Come to me!" All of the Cyclops on the island, they gathered in front of Polyphemus. They said, "What's up then, boss?" Polyphemus said, "I have been blinded by nobody." And they said, "There's Siri, who is heckling me right now." Anyway, right at the peak of this story. "Who can help me? Nobody has blinded me." All the Cyclops said, "Well, that's good, isn't it, that nobody's blinded you?" "No, you don't understand. I need you to go and get nobody." They all said, "Okay." And then they walked off, shrugging their shoulders and wondering at their king's foolishness. Odysseus and his friends, they had tricked Polyphemus, and they had escaped. And they went on to have lots more of other adventures, but I'll have to tell you about those another time. What I do have is, I've got some armour that Odysseus and his friends might have worn. This is muscle armour, modelled upon my very own body. This muscle armour is the type of armour that the ancient Greek heroes would have worn, and it's been copied ever since by Batman. This is an ancient Greek helmet. It's got horsehair on the top so that you can identify which team that you are on. Now, if you were drawing a helmet like this, you would just start off with an oval shape for a head and then add a McDonald's mur. Also, the ancient Greeks would have had shields a bit like this one. Now, the curvy bits that are on either side of the shield there are a distinctive ancient Greek design. So you can put your sword against it and you can stab out like that. But you can also have these ends sharpened and use this as a weapon. Then, some of you eagle-eyed people might recognize this sword from Monday's story. I said that it was a golden sword, but that was just part of the storytelling. It's actually a bronze sword. The ancient Greeks, like the ancient Egyptians, they used bronze weapons because they were around at the time of the Bronze Age. An ancient Greek hero would have a sword like that, or perhaps an ancient Greek hero would have a sword like this one. This one is called a falcata. It's got a curve to it, a little bit like a cutlass a pirate sword has. Only a cutlass would bend up, and the falcata, it bends forward. And this is a very sharp sword. Would you like to experience how sharp it is? Watch this. It's sharp, I can assure you. Now, perhaps after today's story, you could have a think about what did Odysseus look like. You could draw a picture wearing his muscle armor, wearing his horsehair helmet, with his decapitation shield in one hand and a type of sword in another. And once you've designed the hero, you might then want to think about which other islands Odysseus went to. Maybe he went to an island that wasn't inhabited by giant sheep and giants with one eye in the middle of their forehead. He might have gone to an island where electric octopus walked around on their tentacles. Or maybe he arrives at an island that's filled with evil unicorns that can spit fire from its nostrils. Or maybe it goes to an island where trees walk around on their roots, fishes fly in the sky, and dogs swim in the sea. You could design your own crazy island and come up with an idea of what an ancient Greek hero would do there. But remember, Odysseus, he didn't always just use his weapons. He used his brain against his enemies. I don't mean that he took his brain out of his ear and he threw it at them. What I mean is he thought of ideas. He thought of ways that he could trick them. So perhaps if you were to write a story, don't just do a straightforward story about an ancient Greek hero meeting a monster and they have a fight. Instead, have the hero trick the monster in some way. I'd love to read your writing. I would also love to look at your pictures again, so please do keep sending them to me. I do have some shout outs today. First of all, and this is really important, this is a birthday shout out. I would like us all to wish a happy birthday to two very special people. First of all, Mrs. Deacon from Victoria Lane Academy. Happy birthday to you. And secondly, to Emily Deacon, who is 8 today from Ingleton C of E Primary School. Happy birthday to you both. I won't sing because that will be cruel. However, Shoutouts. Are you ready for this? These two people need an extra special shout out. Harrison and Libby from Dean House. Thank you for all your messages. Thank you for all your positivity. Big shout out to you two. You are both superstar legends. Next, a shout out to Noah. Keep on watching, Noah. To Jack Anderson from St. Cuthbert's in Seaham. Hello to you. To Max Thornhill from Jesmond Gardens. I went to school with your dad called Ian. So shout out to both of you. Next, to Oxclose Primary School. Stay awesome, you guys. To Rihanna and Gillian from Seaham. Hello to you. To Jamie from St. Thomas More in Belmont. Thank you for letting me know about your dragon that you designed, who is called Flamethrower Freddy. How awesome is that? From the same school, from St. Thomas More, shout out to Liam and Lucy, famous people. And to Heselton Primary School and their staff. Big shout out to you guys, one of my favourite schools, especially to Lucy, who goes to that school, to Jacob, and to James from that school as well. Well done, guys. Big shout out to somebody who has been watching every single day this week so far, and that is Ben the dog. Hello, Ben the dog. You know who you are. Hopefully I'll get to see you again soon. Next to William and Ella. They're from Carlton in North Yorkshire, and a big shout out to their whole school, which is Cowick C of E Primary School. Apologies if I said that wrong. Next to Sherburn Primary School. I haven't seen you guys in ages. Hello to you. Big shout out to you guys. To Caleb and Lily Rose. To Jacob and James, also from Heselton Primary School. Jacob and James, you've had 2 shout outs there. How did that happen to mine on my list? Next to Archie. Are you going to design another costume today? Maybe design yourself an ancient Greek costume. Danny and Callum, hello to you from Durham. A big shout out to Simon Side and Jarrow. I hope you're all doing well, guys. And a shout out as well to Acre Rig Academy in Peterlee. Hello to you. Now, tomorrow, I'm feeling in the mood for another kind of hero, but not an ancient Greek hero. How do we feel about superheroes? Shall we have a superhero story tomorrow, and then we'll try and come up with our own superhero ideas? Look forward to that. Same time, 2:30. Same place on YouTube. And in the meantime, I need you to stay safe, stay positive, stay indoors. And don't forget to join me. Tell your friends, tell your family. Let's get this thing out there. Let's get as many people watching as we possibly can. The video will be uploaded onto YouTube. And so don't forget, you can watch this as many times as you like. You can skip all the bits that you don't like and get to the good bits when you're watching it back for another time. Don't forget to subscribe as well and check out my other videos on YouTube too. So I will see you tomorrow, 2:30 for our superhero story. Do I get a ba-ba-da? Thank you very much. Okay, bye for now, everybody. Bye.